It's creepy. Yeah, if I was an alien, I'd pretend to be a cat. You get fed, you get petted, no responsibilities. Get to observe humankind from a comfortable box in front of the telly. So Skynet runs the podcast and is going to kill us all, and cats are aliens. This is a good start.
Hello, welcome back. This is episode 18 of the Indiegameiacs podcast. I should probably say my name. I don't say it enough. My name is Richard Marsh, and this podcast is here to help indie developers get their game known and recognised out in the world. And it's also for indie game fans to discover some cool indie games. So if you're one of those two types of people, then you found the right place. So welcome. Hello. So this week we are moving. I think this week represents kind of a turning point for the podcast. I feel like it's really starting to develop into its own world now. So I'm really, really pleased and proud of where the podcast is going, to be honest. And this week we are shifting gears ever so slightly, and we're going to be talking to, instead of an indie developer, we're going to be talking to Trista Bytes, who is a presenter, interviewer, voice actor, streamer, everything, you name it. She's multi-talented, she's got lots of experience, and she's going to be a fantastic resource for everybody listening. I'm sorry to refer to you as a resource, Trista. You know what I mean. The information you give is a fantastic resource to everybody listening, because the knowledge that you share is so good. You are going to get, if you're listening to this, you're going to get so much out of this, and I highly recommend you grab a pen and paper, because you are going to need this. There's lots of tips on, if you're a developer, some of the things you should do when you're approaching your social media and your marketing of your game. There's loads of tips in that sort of area for you in this podcast. And if you're a fan of indie games or gaming in general, and you just want someone new or cool to watch and view online, then Trista, again, is a fantastic streamer, great content creator. So whoever you are listening, you're going to love it. It's a great interview. And if you enjoy this slight change of direction, then please let me know. You know the email address, indiegameiacs@gmail.com, Twitter, you can find me everywhere. You know this. It's in the show notes. Everything's in the show notes. All the links to Trista will be in the show notes as well. If you're watching this audio presentation on YouTube, again, they're in the comments. Check down below, they'll be there. Okay, let's hand myself over to Trista. See you on the other side. Okay, so welcome to the show, and we have with us Trista Bytes. So hello.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I am filled with biscuits and tea.
That sounds like an entirely appropriate and optimal way to be.
It is. I'm winning at life already. This is good. So normally we are talking to indie developers, but you are not an indie developer. Well, I say that. I didn't actually ask you. Are you an indie developer?
I'm not. No.
Okay. I should have probably.
You know who I am, right? Like, I haven't just joined this call by accident, right? Like, because this could get real awkward.
Yeah. Oh, I was waiting for someone else.
I've just accidentally, joined the wrong Discord or something.
I wonder if that ever happened. Anyone's done that and just started interviewing them.
You just style it out. Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you are a streamer. So you're a streamer on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, well, I do a variety of different presenting things. So I present on stage at Comic-Cons and games conventions and things. I've been a YouTuber for sort of approaching 5 years now. And then I've been a streamer for sort of approaching, well, God, we must be coming up for 1.5 years now on Twitch as well. So I do a variety of things generally around the presenting, interviewing and content creation type arenas. And a lot of that does involve indie games.
Okay, cool. Because I was watching your stream yesterday. Lots of cat chat Very good.
Yeah, it went off on quite a tangent, that one.
It was really good. But I just wanted to say your stream quality and your audio is so good. Um,
Thank you. I've just upgraded the mic, so I appreciate the compliment on it.
okay. Well, let's talk mics off topic. Which mic did you get?
I have the Rode NT1A and the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2.
Very nice. That's a very good combo.
I watched approximately 6 hours of YouTube videos
Oh,
comparing the audio from very similar microphones, listening to them intently, desperately trying to hear the difference between them in order to pick this particular setup.
I've done exactly the same. You end up closing your eyes when they say, "I'm going to do a test between both mics." I'm like, "Oh, I'll close my eyes now. Let's get all serious."
Yeah, and about hour 5, you're just like, "I don't know, it's a microphone."
Yeah.
Um, but it's yeah, I think it helps a lot, to have good audio, and my poor Zoom H1 is not really supposed to, it acts as a mic, but it's kind of a secondary function on the thing, and I was running off that for years, and it's just started to basically beg for mercy when I went
Yeah.
full time on Twitch.
Turn me off sometimes.
Yeah, it just occasionally would just rebel, but I think that's the same with most tech really. It's why Skynet will definitely take over the world.
That's already a few mentions of Skynet now. We're going to get flagged somewhere.
My computer's called Skynet and it kind of named itself, so
Oh, we're definitely doomed. Okay, that's fine.
yeah.
Fine.
I should
Well,
probably
okay.
stop playing indie games with sort of spaceships and AI and
There's a
sci-fi themes. I'm just helping it.
there's a lot of those. To be fair, that's a very popular theme.
Yeah, it's just people like to predict the future and be right, so that's generally what they go for.
Like The Simpsons.
Yes.
That's a whole new podcast. That one. So where were we? We were talking we were talking about microphones. Before that, we were talking about you. So it's very clear watching you that your presenting skills. It's very natural for you, isn't it? It comes across so well.
I generally the way I describe myself is there's no problem getting me to talk. The problem's getting me to shut up.
Okay, so
So I can very happily fill I I think the longest live stream I've done without any significant break is 7 hours of just chatting.
well, when thing is that is a skill. It's a huge skill because as we know from previous episodes of this podcast, getting developers to chat is can be very hard work.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, generally, I would also do to say of my inability to shut up is that it's a feature, not a bug.
That's right.
So we generally go with that. But I do know what you mean because obviously I've in if you've seen my YouTube channel, I have an entire playlist of interviewing indie developers. I also interview indie comic book creators, but I have quite a lot of videos where I've interviewed indie game devs, and some people they're really not used to being in front of camera. They're really not used to selling their work. They're incredibly modest. They're quite shy. You put a camera and a microphone in their face and they start to freeze up a bit. So I've spent quite a lot of my presenting career trying to help bring other people out of their shell a little bit and bring out that enthusiasm in them and convince them to talk on camera. There's some indie games developers that I spent like a few years convincing to get them in front of the camera because I wanted to share what they were working on. So some of those people, I will be the first person that's ever done a video interview with them.
Wow. Well, there you go. That is exactly why you are the perfect guest for this, because this is the direction I wanted to go with bringing a streamer, and specifically you onto the podcast was exactly that. That you are, like I said, a natural communicator. You know, you've got a great live stream. You play games, not just indie games, but all games. So I just thought we could talk about some of the things that indie developers need to know if they're going to use a streamer. Just cover the whole range of how a streamer can be useful to an indie developer, because it seems to be growing quite a lot recently, the whole streamer and developer sort of relationship.
Yeah, I think in the past we just looked at reviews in order to decide what games to buy and be those written reviews in magazines back in the day and little fanzines and things through YouTube videos. And now Twitch is becoming more and more prevalent, and we're finding that people that want to decide if they're interested in a game or not, watching somebody else play that game live in a way where you can interact with them is an amazing way to discover new games. And it has meant that a lot of indie developers, obviously, they don't have a huge amount of money for traditional marketing, but they can give Steam keys to streamers to play live on Twitch and things like that. And that is a great way of kind of getting the word out there to a wider audience. And it's definitely becoming more and more prevalent in the indie community as a way of trying to get new games out there. It also gives you loads and loads of feedback. So if you want to do like an en masse beta testing of your indie game, then you could give it to a streamer and you've got them and their entire audience's live feedback on what you're seeing as well. So there's lots of different ways where streamers and indie developers can work together beyond that traditional kind of like give person finished product is then reviewed. And obviously for me as well, I like doing interviews, and I think those interviews are really, really important. I have done things like play a game live on air. So there's a game called Alien Scumbags, which is a kind of 8-bit inspired comedy, satirical sort of horror platform shooting type game. And it's brilliant and it's so funny. But from the little clips and things that were on Twitter, I didn't get that much about it. I could see it was kind of cool, but I didn't understand how nuanced the game was. I didn't understand the sheer amount of references and funny moments in it. And genuinely, the game made me jump in places as well. And this is from someone that's played Alien Isolation, this little 8-bit inspired horror comedy game generally got some like jumps out of me. And by playing that on stream and having those initial reactions and things, because I hadn't played it before, I play the games live, so you get live reactions. And I also got the developer to come onto the stream as well, audio only over Discord, and talk me through things. And it kind of ended up evolving into an interview at that point as I was playing the game. And it was just a lovely experience that the audience could ask questions of me and how I was feeling playing the game. They could ask questions of the developer. It just became this really lovely atmosphere. And like the kind of offshoot of that was that quite a few people that watch my stream picked up a copy of the game, for one. The other offshoot of that was that I learned loads about it that I wouldn't have known otherwise. And if there's one thing that will sell a game more than anything else, it is seeing the person who made it be passionate about it and hearing that story, because it immediately humanizes everything. So you have like, somebody talking about how them and then one mate have been making this in their spare time and where the ideas came from and stuff adds so much. And I don't think that developers realize exactly how much it adds to put a face to that game, how much that completely hiding themselves away is removing the opportunity for people to know the person behind it. There's a reason why every advert you see on TV pretty much will have a character or a person. It's because having a human face there, having a reaction, having a personality is the reason why celebrities are endorsing products and get paid so much for it. It has a big difference to the consumer, and seeing the person who created something being enthusiastic and talking about their influences and that kind of information just helps enormously, which is one of the reasons why I like sort of doing those interviews and things. And the other offshoot that happened from that is that I'm now in Alien Scumbags.
Ah, excellent.
So I got it went from a game that I thought, this is quite cute, it's quite nice, yeah, I'll give that a play, to by the end of it thinking this is actually really, really good and has got loads more going on than I initially thought. And the sense of humor is amazing. And now I'm the voice on the tannoy system for the spaceship you're in.
Amazing. And I've heard those clips, and it's fantastic because again, you've got a perfect. Now, and this is either I keep offending all my guests, so you have the perfect
Yes. Yes.
AI evil AI voice. You'd have to be evil, just AI voice. Let's go
I
with
just
that.
am evil. It just
Okay, so
yeah,
natural.
that's just a natural undercurrent. It's not supposed to be there.
Oh,
We try and edit it out, but God
Just
damn it.
seeps through.
I was just born Sith, you know? Just can't help it.
But
They've got
that's
the best lightsabers.
they really do. Well, you're talking to the wrong. If you're talking about Star Wars now, I am the wrong person. I just don't do it. Just don't do Star Wars. I'm afraid.
But that's fine. I'll have all the lightsabers then. You know, it's I'll just
Yeah,
have more lightsabers. I'm
I'm
fine with
sorry.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek man.
Yeah, I
Mm.
like both.
Yeah,
They're not mutually exclusive.
I know, I know. I just can't get on with it. I just can't. I've tried several times to watch them. I just can't. So something wrong
Yeah.
with me because everyone else likes them. But anyway, back to the point. So that was really interesting. You were saying about, and I think developers should definitely be taking note in the last couple of minutes of talking you just did, because there was loads in there which I don't think developers think about, because they haven't had to think about it, to be honest, because this is a whole new world. Like I said, the marketing, PR, all this side of it is something that most of them have no experience over. And why would they? Because a lot of them
No,
are.
well, marketing and PR
Yeah,
are entire, not just jobs, departments, entire companies dedicated to these
absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
And indie developers have to have so many hats. They could open a hat shop. It's an awesome metaphor there. Well done, Trista. And they have to be able to do so many things already. And you can't expect everyone to know everything. You just can't. And I think that also that they don't necessarily understand the value of their own contribution. They put everything into these games, and I think sometimes they're surprised. Like when I go to all of the games conventions, like sort of EGX, Play Expo, all these kind of things, and I want to interview them. I think a lot of them don't really understand why. Like they're kind of like, well, I think I've made a nice game. I'm trying hard here, but why would anyone care about me and my story and things? And I'm like, no, people really really do. And
Yeah.
other people don't know all the things and aren't going through the same challenges and haven't had the same ideas as you, and a lot of them just seem to really undervalue how interesting they are and their processes are, and um how much people actually do care and want to know about the behind the scenes things and the influences on them and the development process for those games. And I think that's more true with indie games than with the AAA games. Like with AAA games, we know there's like 500 people, in some big offices and loads of
Yeah.
market research. With indie games, you get things that are sometimes a lot more left field, a lot more unusual, and you look at them and you think, "Where's that come from? Where are the ideas for this? This is something unique and special." So we do want to hear those stories, and yeah, I don't think they realize that. So
Good.
hopefully this will help them see why it's interesting and important to sort of engage more and allow themselves to be part of the package that makes up the product, and the USP is them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is why, again, like you said, that is why people, okay, not why, but that is one of the reasons people play indie games, is because they really love following that particular developer, and they like their story. Like you said, they like the personal tweets and the pictures that they see, and they're making the game, and like I said, drawing on bits of scrap paper. That that is the appeal of indie gaming to a lot of people, and to myself.
Yeah, I think that people like indie games because they love the idea the game was made from a place of love and passion for gaming, and they want things that are a little bit different, and by default, because those things are different, they want to know about the process behind it. So one of the developers I interviewed, oh god, a while ago now, it was at EGX Dresd, which is an amazing event, and if you have the chance to show your game at EGX Dresd, do. It is a entirely indie focused gaming convention, and it's lovely because everyone there just wants to play everything. But there was a developer there who created a game called the Collage Atlas. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't. No.
The entire game is hand drawn,
Oh God.
pen and paper.
Oh wow.
Yeah, everything is scanned in
Oh
as
my.
So you remember when you used to make like little things, like you get like a thing on a cardboard, you'd pop it out and you'd make it into a shape and it had drawings on each side. Those kind of things you used to
Uh-huh.
get as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that, but everything scanned into a game and then it's mapped onto the 3D items. So
Oh,
everything kind of almost looks 2D but isn't, because
wow.
everything is literally a pen on paper drawn and scanned in. And talking to him, and I'd missed talking to him at a previous one. And in the entire the entire interview, I'm just looking at him in awe, which I think confused the hell out of him because I was so in love with what he was doing. And it got to the point when he told me that every single tree in that game is 8 hours of work.
What?
And it's an open, explorative, first person.
Oh,
It
God.
kind of you're exploring kind of the emotions of the character. It's a slightly conceptual, beautiful game that's kind of open-ended and leaves you to explore the environment, which you can do fairly freely. And every one of those trees is that it's an 8-hour drawing.
That's unbelievable.
Uh,
And I expect he didn't even think it was such a big deal.
he knew he'd been spending a lot of time on this and a lot of care and attention on this, but
That's
sort
epic.
of so many people that watched that interview were just kind of like, "This is amazing."
Wow, I'll have to find it. I'll stick a link to that because that sounds amazing.
Yeah, or you look at things like Figment. I don't know if you've played Figment, which is an absolutely adorable fairy tale platformer game about a character who's trying to regain their courage, kind of thing. It's very
Okay.
much an all ages game. It's very pretty. It's quite a short game. It's not a hugely challenging one, but it's a lovely family game and definitely aimed at uh, children slightly more than adults, but still lovely to play as an adult as well. And one of the reasons it's lovely is because it's a musical.
Wow.
The
How does that
bosses
work?
have songs.
Oh my.
The entire soundtrack is a written from scratch musical as you would get in a Disney film.
That's unbelievable.
Characters break into song.
What?
Um,
Only an indie game.
Yeah, and these kind of ideas and like how did you come across this idea?
What?
You know, why what led you to want to do this? And how did you get involved with musicians who wanted to do these musical numbers for this game? This is all incredibly part of the process. I think a lot of people have heard of a game called Tanglewood by Big Evil Corp.
Oh,
That's
I
quite a
love it.
well-known one. It's great. It got a lot of awards.
Yeah.
Um, and I was lucky enough to get to interview them as well. 6 years that game took.
Wow. Well, do you know what? That game is where this whole podcast came from.
Really?
Yeah, I played it. I accidentally stumbled across it one day while I was doing whatever I was doing, and I thought, "Oh, I'll play this on stream." And it was the first indie game I'd played on stream. Once I
Wow.
played them, and then because Matt is the developer, isn't he?
Yes.
And he joined me randomly in the stream, and he was doing what you were saying earlier. He was talking me through puzzles, telling me how things worked in the game because I think it was still an early release at the time.
Mhm.
And while I was playing it, he was going, "I had no idea you could beat the boss that way. I didn't know you could do that." Um, and things like that. And he was just saying, "I didn't know that happened." Just discovering the game while I was playing it, and I loved that interaction. And that was when
Yeah.
I thought, "Wow, I should do this more. This is great having the developer talking to me playing. This is fantastic." So I loved Tanglewood. It was a great game.
It's a beautiful game, and the history behind it and why he made that game, you know, he just childhood him wanted to make a Mega Drive game.
So yep,
Adult him said, "I still wanna make a Mega Drive game." So he got an actual Mega Drive dev kit, one of 2 known working dev kits in the entire planet,
wow,
and learnt to code in assembly, you know, as Mega Drive games were written back in the day. It isn't a game that's been written and then ported onto a Mega Drive cartridge. It's written for Mega Drive and then ported the other way effectively, because you can
yep,
obviously get the game on Steam and other things as well, but he'd learnt to code
that's
on a
amazing.
Mega Drive dev kit just to make that game.
Well,
And knowing that just adds so
it
much.
does, and I remember he said that Sega were really positive and really helpful with him, doing the artwork and the cartridges and everything. But he said that they couldn't give him the Sega sort of logo on it because they couldn't test it because they didn't have any the testing kits available anymore.
Yeah, they're very supportive of things because it's not the only project that we've seen that's been a Mega Drive game built in that way and played on Mega Drive. Because we've also got Xenocrisis by Bitmap Bureau. I don't know if you've played that one. Came
I
out the
haven't.
same year, which is a little bit like sort of Smash TV and that kind of thing, slightly top down, clearing rooms of aliens. You can play it co-op. It's also on the Switch and various other things as well. And yeah, they usually were exhibiting next to each other at
Ah,
events I went to, which was absolutely
okay.
lovely. And seeing the kind of camaraderie between different indie devs, sort of lifting each other up, which is what I generally see in the indie communities, is everyone lifting each other up, everyone being fans of everyone else's projects.
Yeah,
And yeah, so you'd often see Tanglewood, and on the next CRT next to it would be Xenocrisis
amazing.
by Bitmap Bureau.
Well, I've seen them. I've seen him retweeting and sort of supporting. There's a couple of more games coming out now. I noticed that were again Mega Drive built. So it's still going on, which is fantastic. I love it.
It is, and knowing those stories adds a lot to understanding those games and how they got built, and is a really integral part of their history and why they're so interesting. Which is one of the reasons I love interviewing uh, indie games developers.
Yeah,
And the fact that it's on several occasions led to me then being involved in the game directly. um,
yeah, it's brilliant,
is
isn't it?
kind of wonderful as well. Yeah, because I'm the voice of two spaceships.
Oh, okay. Give us a plug on both games. Let's see if we can find you.
So I am the voice on alien scumbags for the Tannoy, on the spaceship, which is pretty damn awesome. I
That
am
is awesome.
also the voice of the spaceship, or the spaceship's computer rather, for a game called Iridium, spelt with an I, which
All
is
right,
by Nebula Design, which is obviously heavily influenced by things like Iridium, spelt with a U, and Xenon 2, and games like that. And
amazing.
I am the voice of the spaceship on that one as well, which was very funny when I was streaming it because my own voice kept pointing out when I died. And we've now got a bit of a recurring running gag that goes on in chat, which is anytime I get a shield in any game, people in chat type shields up, shields down, because I seem to repetitively on my first playthrough. And bearing in mind this is it's a fast paced shooter. If you ever played things like Iridium and Xenon and things,
Hmm.
this one that the ship flips over,
Yeah.
you're dodging loads of enemies. I managed every single time I picked up a shield to lose the shield. So all you could hear was my voice saying, shields up, shields down, shields up. Which is so much more taunting when it's your own voice.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, God, that would drive me crazy. So you basically
Uh,
you're basically Holly now, which is amazing.
I'm happy with that.
That's
I'm happy with that.
I mean,
I would like to expand my range of voice acting. But if I do get typecast as a spaceship, that's really not the end of the world.
no, that sounds pretty epic to me. Okay, so let's say let's role play slightly. So you're an indie developer, and you're thinking, look, we've got a game here.
Mhm.
How do I get people to see it? They find your awesome Twitch channel, and they go, I want Trista to play my game. What should they do? What are you expecting? What should a developer do to get in touch with you? What are you expecting from them if they do get in touch with you? Because I'm sure you get junk messages of here's my game, and then a link, which same as I get. But what would make you click on the link and read the message?
I think there's a balancing act for people to do when they want to get their things out there, of getting out there to as many people as possible versus going for the quality over quantity approach and doing a lot more research and narrowing it down to just building up relationships with individual people. The more you know the person that you want to be involved with your game, the better it is. Again, it's that human thing.
Yeah,
Messages coming from somebody that you have no idea who they are or what their game is, and they have no real idea of who you are, or if you even play the kind of game they're creating. Those come across just as copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and you may get some response back from that may work for you. But if you have an idea of the particular kinds of people you want to be promoting your game, and you want to be working with people that are a good fit for you, because that's obviously going to work a lot better. If you make a game that's a bit like Pokemon and you have it streamed by people that play lots of Pokemon, that's obviously a better fit than having somebody play your game that's a bit like Pokemon who mostly streams Doom Eternal. Yes, there's some crossover, but you've got a slightly better bet.
So I knew you were going to go for Doom. I was
It just, well, though it is quite funny because the amount of people who bought Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing
Animal
was
Crossing.
massive. So that's probably not actually a good example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so and that's a good point, because do you think it's important to start these connections pretty early in the development process? I mean, or how early in the process should they start looking at least making connections with streamers? I mean, joining their chat. Watch the streamers actually play. Don't just blind message them like you were saying. Go in, see what their streams are like. See what games they play, what the community around the streamer is like. That's all stuff you can do pretty early on, isn't it?
It is, and it also gives you an idea of if you want that person as the voice for your game. That you may go and look into their content and see that although they have very big numbers, their views, their style, their community, something about them isn't actually a good fit for what you're doing. So the more time you put into knowing who you are talking to, the more personalized that will be. The sooner you do that, the more it will feel like a genuine connection and not just please advertise my game for me, please advertise my game for me. And the more it's going to feel like there is a genuine, legitimate connection between you. It just seems the more you can just be sure that the person's going to enjoy the game and it's going to be something that vibes with their audience, and that's obviously going to help you in return. You could have 100 streamers play your game, but none of their audiences are interested in the kind of game you have, at which point is that blanket marketing more powerful than getting a smaller set of streamers who really, really vibe with what you're doing, who are invested in the game, who have been waiting for it to come out because they've been watching you develop it and they're excited for its release, and their audience is therefore got an investment in it as well? Is that actually much more powerful? Taking it back to something that seems slightly oddly tangential but is relevant. As a graphic designer, which was my career before I moved over to presenting for 15 years, I worked a lot in email marketing, and I saw the way email marketing worked change. At the start, you used to send every customer the same email. By the end of the time I worked in email marketing, every template was massively dynamic, custom. It pulled in things relevant to their shopping history. It was all personalized. And the more personalized it was, the more niche it was, the more targeted it was, the better the results were. So sometimes blanket messaging, or even worse, tagging tons and tons of people repetitively in tweets, just comes across as noise. You will just get muted because people don't want to feel like they're one of 700 people you've sent the same copy paste message at. So putting in that investment to find people which will be a really good fit to work with you, I think is much more valuable in the long run. Yeah, it's nice to say hundreds of people are playing your game on stream, but it isn't necessarily going to result in as much genuinely useful exposure or sales of the game as working with a smaller set of people that actually care about the game and are enjoying it, and whose audience can therefore pick up on that vibe. So I think that that's something that I see a lot of people overlooking, and I will just get messages that say, "Hi, you're a streamer. Do you play indie games? Here is a Steam key." And I get a lot like this, and I can see
Wow.
why they're just going for this kind of approach, because they're going for that quantity over quality. And if someone's coming to me and say, "Do you play indie games?" I'm like, I've got years worth of interviews with indie games developers on my YouTube channel, and my stream specifically has, the most basic information is variety, retro, and indie streamer. So it makes it feel like they don't care about me. They're just, it's a
Yeah.
question that you should already know the answer to, because I'm like, well, why are you messaging me then if you don't know if I play indie games? And I can see how they end up doing
Yeah.
it, but it's that kind of first impression thing.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, The minimum you want people to see, you would expect a message to at least say, "Hi, Trista," you know, and then start listing, talk about you. I see you play indie games. I've watched a few of your streams. I see you like playing scary space games, which you clearly do now.
I
Um,
really don't. I have no choice in that matter.
that's it. You're in. You're in. You like it now. Honest. And my my game is this, this, and this. Would you like, would you like to take a look at it? Simple as that. A nice, friendly message that shows some sort of care and research.
Yeah, and it also, it means that they know they're messaging the right people. The people they're messaging know that they have, they're not just carpet bombing these messages. They've picked you kind of for a reason. And also, I tend to find if I do get messages like that, they do not tell me the genre of the game. They do
Oh,
not tell me any information that might be relevant about the game, and sometimes they don't even include a link to a trailer. So I then have to
oh,
do the legwork to go to their profile, find a tweet, which isn't always the pinned tweet. If you have a new game out, please make your pinned tweet information about it with a trailer. And I'm having to then do all this legwork just to get to the point where I see the game is is a Switch only horror game. And I, despite the fact I have been playing horror games recently, don't actually like horror games, and I don't own a Switch. And it took me 5 minutes to get to that point. I
yeah. I
put
know.
that time in because I am coming from a background of I will find indie developers I like and encourage them on camera and understand that. Most people will just keep scrolling because they've got 20 DMs like that day.
Yeah, and that's a simple. Again, that is just a simple thing that they can fix, isn't it? I mean,
Mm.
that's not. You shouldn't. In that first message, you should know all the info you need to know to make a decision.
Yeah, it
So
make it easy for the person. And
yeah,
it does also, as you say, if they've gone to your streams and interacted with you and just gotten to know you, it helps a lot. Not only does it help them know that you are a suitable person, because again, as many people as possible is not always the best approach. Um, and it means that you're aware of each other. You don't just feel like you are number 500 on a list of email addresses they've harvested from somewhere and sent this blanket thing to. And with indie games, that makes a big difference because it is about the personality of the people behind it. The indie scene is much more personable than the AAA scene, you know? If a very, very large company were to say, here, we use the example again of Doom Eternal, here, have a Doom Eternal key, see you like Doom, you wouldn't ask too many questions.
no,
You've got a relationship with that company,
yeah,
which is one-sided the other direction because you're like, oh my god, I've played every Doom game since Doom came out. This is amazing. You've got
yeah,
that relationship with that company going back a decade. So if they just go have a key to that, then a company you adore has sent you something that you never expected, and you're like, this is amazing.
yeah.
Small indie developers, especially if you don't know them, it is a stranger giving you the opportunity to play an unknown game, and you don't know why. So it definitely helps to know what your USPs are for your game.
Mhm.
Well, that's unique selling points. Wow, you can tell I used to work in a advertising and marketing agency. Know what your new unique selling points are. One of which is you, the developer, definitely. So a little bit of just basics like the formats the game's on. The what systems does it?
Yeah,
What systems is it on? What the genre of it is? Some kind of point that helps explain it in some way, and give somebody a point of reference. If you like X, Y, and Z, you might like this. Simple kind of things. A link to a trailer, a couple of screenshots, and a reason why it's a good match.
yeah. Wow.
It just makes all of the difference. Don't make the people that you want to work with do the legwork on your behalf. Just make it easy for them and talk to them as you would if they were in front of you in real life, which wouldn't be to just hand them a piece of paper with a Steam key on and then to walk away.
Amazing. That is an amazing list of advice there. Oh my god. So if you weren't taking notes there, you need to rewind that because that was epic.
Sorry.
So
See, I told you
that
the
was amazing.
difficulty isn't getting me to talk, it's getting me to shut up. I warned you. You were forewarned.
Okay, so what would you say is the biggest mistake that you see developers make? Is it regarding the whole social media or marketing or communications? Is that where you see the biggest problem with developers generally?
I think it varies. I don't think there's any one specific thing. I think that things that are pain points for content creators, streamers, reviewers, journalists, sort of everybody is things like being tagged in with a list of 100 other people on Twitter. Um, you end up in an endless thing that takes over your notifications.
Notifications. Yeah.
Because I've seen some people be like, here's the latest trailer for my game. There's a trailer. I've never interacted with them before. They don't follow me on Twitter. And, there's me and as many other people that can be tagged on the tweet. And then there's 2 more tweets in reply to that tweet with other people tagged. And most of the replies are, can you untag me? Because it doesn't really do anything. Like if you do want to tag somebody, just tag one person in the tweet. And ideally don't have that be the first ever communication that you've had with them. Because it can be
Yeah.
cool to put something up and say, hey, I thought you might like this, or like see that, somebody very targeted that plays the exact sort of thing you develop and send a tweet saying, maybe you'd like to try this, or something like that,
Yeah.
or some funny clip that they will find amusing that's from your game that relates to their sense of humor. Just something that is a bit more personal and meaningful and gives them a reason to click the link you want them to click. Um,
Yeah, it's just being, like I say, being a human. I mean, that's a good start, isn't it? I
yeah,
mean, even with building, like I see, quite a few seem to struggle with building, a community or that sort of following on Twitter. I mean, Twitter seems to be a key place for developers. It seems to be it's a good place because there's lots of tagging to be done. Hashtags are good, but they seem to really struggle with the balance of just posting up factual images and information about their game, but never actually just talking and replying and messaging real people
yeah.
in the community.
Which is partly because they're incredibly busy making their game and possibly doing a
Yes.
day job at the same time, whilst also like homeschooling their children right now and things. But you do have to have it be balanced. There's a reason why my Twitter account, like, yeah, I'm not, super famous. I don't have hundreds of thousands of people, but I have a steadily growing amount of followers on all of my social media accounts, and on my YouTube and on my Twitch as well. And part of the reason is my account does not look like a list of 500 tweets, all of which say going live now. Equally, my account is not just a list of things saying today I had avocado toast for breakfast or something. Um,
Yeah.
the things on my accounts are relevant, but they are also personable. There's a bit of a sense of humor. I'm allowed to be a human. And the things which are marketing are mixed in with other things, retweeting other people, supporting other people, things that are just silly and amusing, but vaguely in the correct kind of area and topic. And it very much looks like an account that's run by a person who's having fun and who is part of the community. And it's getting that balance because sometimes I will go to an indie developer's Twitter account and I can't find any tweets about their game. And if they haven't got a pinned tweet saying, this is what I'm working on, here's a trailer for it, and here's the link to the website and information, if anyone would like to look at my pinned tweet, I think it's a very good example of how to do a pinned tweet. I did a lot of research on these things and
Uh-huh.
watched a lot of YouTubers and people talking about how to best kind of do pinned tweets and things. And everything you need to know about me is in my description of my account and that pinned tweet. And then
Right. So yeah.
even if my next couple of tweets are just me, lamenting that my Quake 3 arena box is rusty, which is what happened to my
It's
lovely metal.
rusty.
I know, it looks so much more. Everyone's reply was that it basically looks way more on brand now. So I'm actually okay with it. So even if I've got, my last few tweets are something slightly silly and irrelevant, that you can still find all the relevant information in the bio and the pinned tweet. And sometimes I'll go to the indie developers account and I can't find the information I need. I can't find a link to the game. I can't find the trailer. I can't find anything. Um, and again, it's making me put a lot of work in. And sometimes I will do that. But
Yeah.
bigger creators or people that are slightly less focused on the development side, they are only going to scroll so far before they say this is clearly a Twitter account about a dog. It's a cute dog, but it's not an indie game. Um, so it's about making sure you're tweeting a mixture of things, not just self-promotional, but also not too wildly off topic continuously. One tweet about dog,
Yeah.
nice. Two tweets about dog, dog's very cute. 20 tweets about dog, you've now running a dog Twitter account.
Yeah.
And it's about finding that balance and making it easy for people, while still being human. And I think that's something that's quite difficult, and it takes a little while to learn, and it does take time. Investing time in doing your social media, I think, can feel like a waste of time when you're trying to develop a game. But
Yeah.
building those connections and because you can make, genuine friends with other people who are other indie game developers, who are people that play indie games. You build all of that buzz up before you've even finished your alpha version of your game. If you're sharing your concept art for your characters, if you are putting up a picture of like the giant bowl of coffee you've just drunk because you haven't slept that much, with your code on the screen, saying, yep, gonna get down to finishing this section today, it's gonna be really cool. You are creating that buzz. If you just kind of appear from nowhere and make a Twitter account and say, hello, here's a finished game, who wants to play it? And people are like, wait, what game, who are you?
Who are you?
You've kind of just walked into it's like sort of walking into a party and just kind of being like, hey, you need to perhaps have, I guess, been
Yeah.
invited to party,
That'd be that'd be nice. Yeah.
and know some of the people there. Otherwise, it's going to feel awkward. And again, it makes it more difficult for them because they have just walked into that party and they don't know who anyone is and they don't know who to talk to, and they're not sure if the first person they talk to is going to have any interest in what they want to say. And if you've been part of the community more actively for the whole time during your development, you'll find that people can be very encouraging and can offer some awesome, feedback and input and things from those early stages. And again, that builds their investment
Yeah.
and
And as
makes them
that
more
is a really good
receptive.
point. Yeah, it is a really good point with the support that the community does give, because it is a particular. I mean, it's strange for Twitter, but it is a particularly supportive community. There's loads. If you've got a problem that you're struggling with, as a developer, or or anything related, there's so much help out there. People are very willing, as developers, to help and offer advice.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you've never spoken to them before, they're probably not going to.
Or they might try, but they don't know enough
Don't know,
information to
and yeah,
help.
exactly. So you're only hurting yourself long term by just. Of course, it's important to just get on with making the game, but you should be allocating a little bit of time every day. Yeah, God, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sit down, go through some hashtags, go through some accounts. Check on what other people are doing, because again, it may also help you to take a break from your game, and get some feedback from what everyone else is doing as well. So you can't overlook the value of just spending time connecting and communicating with real people, because Twitter accounts generally are real people.
One hopes. We're back to that
Mainly,
Skynet thing
mostly.
again.
We are. We're yeah, back there, yeah.
And indie game and Twitter is very, very helpful and very, very supportive. And if you are talking to other people, giving them little bits of feedback and things and retweeting them, they generally, if they like what you're doing, will do the same for you. And it isn't a guaranteed reciprocal thing. Like, you can't expect people to retweet you because you retweet them, but you will
Yeah.
find the more you become involved in the community, the more other developers and players and people will share out what you're doing as well. But it has to be a two-way communication. It has to be something which is equal. And yeah, finding that balance and being consistent on that can seem like a lot of work, and it is easy to kind of go the other way and be on Twitter for sort of 7 hours a day. But it's just kind of like being present, liking some other people's posts, making some comments and things, and becoming part of the community. And you will find that once you've connected with some of the right people, that it can actually be very helpful, and it can be something that is a positive influence on what you're doing. And I know sort of like other YouTubers, other content creators, they'll put up on Twitter sometimes, which of these thumbnails is better? What should I go for here?
Yeah.
What do you think of this background? I've just changed my background for this. And people will jump in and go like, oh yeah, no, I really like that. Or, oh, I think A is better than B. Or this one's more legible. Or at small sizes, I think this one's better. Like on my phone, that one's not so great. Like people are happy to help each other out. People don't always just see each other as competition. And it can be a very, very supportive environment. And I think that, again, it's one of the things of indie developers don't necessarily think other people are interested in what they're doing, but they are.
Yeah.
There's a
They
there's
are.
a reason why I spent so many years interviewing them, and I've done those interviews sometimes going into them a little bit blind about what the game is. Something's just caught my eye. Something about it just caught
Yeah.
my eye, normally at events. And if you can go to events and show your games, definitely do in future when we've got events running again, because they're wonderful places to get loads and loads of feedback, and just get your game out there. There will be some things where I just they catch my eye. So something like Shift Quantum, I don't know if you've
Okay.
played that.
Nope.
It's
Nope.
a story-driven dystopian puzzle platformer.
Holy hell.
It's the kind of spiritual successor for what was an old web-based Flash game called Shift.
A Flash game. Oh my god.
And it has I just spotted the fact it was monochrome, and it had really distinctive looking graphics, and I just, I sort of magpied in that general direction. I was just like, what is this?
Ooh, a shiny
This
thing.
this is interesting. It's monochrome. It's got lots of sharp edges, and that drew me in. And then I interviewed them and did a video about it, and by the end of the interview I was like, yeah, I'm going to need this as soon as this is released. And I played most of it on stream as well. So as soon as it got released, I'd become invested in it. All my viewers on YouTube were invested in it. I then said, I've now got it. I'm going to be playing this on Twitch. A load of those people came over to see the game on Twitch. The amount of people that ended up with the game because they'd seen the interview, they knew about the development of it, they could see my crazy levels of enthusiasm. They'd then spent several weeks backseat gaming me trying to solve all of these puzzles because they get devilishly difficult. And really, really getting into it. Loads of them ended up playing it, and as people would be coming in my chat going, I'm 70% through the way of the game, and I'd be like, I'm 60% through the game. How did you overtake me? And then there was an update, and I was like, there's a level builder now,
Oh wow.
and I was just like
Yeah.
mind blown, because it just has a lovely mechanism in that game. It's the entire screen changes and rotates because you, with a button press, can make the air the land and the land the air.
Oh my god.
And it
Wow, that
adds
sounds
more
amazing.
and more things as it goes on in the game. So it very naturally, in a very, very nice difficulty progression curve with adding more mechanism and things, just gets more and more difficult, to the point where it got too difficult for me to really stream it. But I got over 60% of the way through the game before that point, because I'm looking at two screens and also talking, and I'm
Yeah.
dyspraxic, and this is a game where the screen rotates a lot. So I was
Yeah.
getting
This is
slightly lost. Um,
yeah, because it's hard work streaming and playing and talking. There's a lot of concentration there.
yeah, and it got really, really difficult. So I had to like end up playing the rest of it off stream. But I'd built up, I'd gone to that stand and gone, this looks interesting. I'd interviewed them and I was like, now I need this. And then it came out, now I need to stream this. And then all my audience was like, oh, those people, I remember the interview. Oh wow, that's amazing. Now we all need this. And
Right.
that worked so well because my enthusiasm just was wildly apparent, and it also has some incredible death animations for your little shadow, because it's all in black and white. You're just mostly silhouette, And I ended up doing things like I'd jump off something and mistime it because, again, dyspraxic, and I'd hit a spike, and I ended up at one point with like my head was on this little spike, and it's all just in silhouette, very small, so it's not gory in any way, shape, or form. And it was just so comical because I just kind of went, "Can I jump up there?" Boom, no.
Nope.
And I've just erupted into giggles at this point. And everyone got to be part of me discovering that live on air. And
that's the power.
yeah,
That's the power of finding a streamer or content creator who does feel like that about your game. And like you said, you can do that by narrowing it down beforehand, because you can't. That's the joy of live streaming, is that it's not edited together to look fun. If you can find someone to play your game who genuinely enjoys it, you can't fake or edit that out because it just looks so natural, which is fantastic.
yeah, and you have instant reaction. I also very much like it when, even if a developer won't come on air, if they don't want to have video or audio, if they're in the chat, that's massively helpful. As you said, with with Tanglewood, when Matt, who's lovely,
Yeah.
popped up in the chat and was talking to you, it's so helpful because you can, if you're sitting there going, "Oh, I wonder if this was made in this," or I wonder what they did for this, or were they inspired for this by or this or this, and they can be in chat and say yes.
Yeah,
That
and again, and the people watching get excited about that as well, because being a developer is it's a rare thing. It's not that many people can be a full-time developer.
I
So
don't think the devs realize that, they'll just kind of
no,
go to me, "Oh yeah, no, I just wrote this and this and this, and I utilized this and I used this library for this," and it's just, it's just what anyone would do, and there's just everyone around going,
nah,
with what magic? So
yeah,
that's
it is.
magic.
It is, and that's what they need to realize. And like I said, it is fantastic. I love it when they join the chats. It's so good. So that is definitely a key tip for everybody who gets their game streamed. Make sure you join the stream. To be fair, most of them do that I've met, but it is a vital step, I think.
I think so. And it means then, even if you're too shy to be on video or to even do voice chats, everyone in the stream still met you, and you're then, a little bit part of that community. And normally, if a streamer does a lot of indie, then the people in the chat are very receptive to that kind of thing, and they will be
Absolutely.
there, telling you all the things they love about what they're seeing on the screen, and they will all say hi. And it's just lovely when you find good Twitch communities. They're absolutely lovely and welcoming. People pop into my stream and somebody else will immediately type, passes so and so a cup of tea. And
Yeah.
it's really, really lovely. And
And how many hedgehogs have been drowned on your stream? Oh my god.
yeah, I need to put a bigger cooldown on the sonic drown sound effect. It's just,
Yeah, it's very good.
it's yeah,
Yeah, your stream was fantastic. I really enjoyed
the fact
watching you.
somebody, I think specifically to wind me up, what one of one of my viewers has made emotes of the sonic drowning expression, and then floods chat with those when doing the sound effect, and I think they may have made that emote just to do that.
Just that, but that's the power of a community, isn't it? That's the whole point. That someone's gone out of their way to create an emote just to sort of be involved in your stream. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, the other day somebody made an entirely new account in order to try and for lack of a better word, bully me into doing a Twitch Sings stream. They made one, it was like vote Trista Sings 2020 or something, and I was just like, no, no.
Yeah. No.
And they made a separate login or changed their handle or whatever way they did it, just to do that, just to friendly troll me on that front. But
And that's what a developer can tap into. If they tap into your community, then there you go. That's the power that it brings.
yeah, it's good fun, and streamers that have built good communities around them, they're wonderful for helping support your game. Again, all those people are going to be possibly then following your Twitter account. Anytime I play an indie game, I put up a thing in chat so that anyone that comes in can then see the Twitter account of the developer and things like that, so they can go and follow them. And
Oh yeah, that was very good actually. I actually need to know how you do that, 'cause that was very handy.
yeah, it's quite simple to do. It goes in with all my other commands, and I just set one up whenever I'm playing an indie game. I do them as well for the t-shirts I wear. I wear indie t-shirts. So
Ah,
small little
amazing.
companies, like if I buy their t-shirt or if they've sent me a t-shirt, either way, whenever I wear it, you can do exclamation mark T, and it gives you the Twitter account of the people that made the t-shirt I'm wearing. So
Look at this. It's almost like you do this full time.
it's almost like it's a profession. Because I want, I have a passion for indies. I have a passion for people doing the things that I never did. My origin story, not that I got superpowers at the end, but my origin story. One of the reasons when I decided I wanted to go into presenting and hopefully voice acting and things will become more of that as well. Um, I decided I was going to learn my trade partly by doing the indie comic book and indie game interviews and things like that. And it was partly because when I was younger, I wanted to make comics and games. And I didn't have the self confidence and I didn't have the support around me. And I didn't go in that direction. And I hugely respect the and understand as well the amount of work that goes into these things. I did art up to A level. I did an English literature and film degree. I learnt like I mean I can code. I could code web like PHP and HTML and stuff like that, just front end stuff. And I did start learning C++ at one point. And I can look at something and I have a vague idea of exactly how much work went into it, and also how much dedication and love and time and effort and it takes to do that, and then how scary it is to put that out in front of the world.
Of course. Yeah, it must be really scary because I'm sure there's a bit of the feeling of, yeah, maybe I'm not as good as some of the other developers out there, and I don't want them seeing it and mocking me over it. But I would be amazed at if the percentage was particularly high of how many people get mocked for putting their code or their game out there, and other developers, taking the mickey out of them. I can't believe that happens.
Not a huge amount, certainly not within the bits of the community that I'm part of, but it's still terrifying to put what you're doing out there, and I never did. I did well, I half made 2 comic books. No
Oh,
one's ever seen those. I
what? Where are they?
I
Come on.
I wrote I mean, one of them I wrote 25,000 words for.
Oh my, that's not a comic book, is it?
It was all of the outlines and the text and the planning and
Wow.
stuff. It was 25,000 words worth. And, you know, no one has ever read that. And
Wow.
and for all of my confidence, and especially when I was younger, the confidence came later in life. Um, I never was able to do that, and I wasn't able to pursue that. And I enjoy helping people making those indie games, those indie comics, again, the indie t-shirt companies, the indie artists. I enjoy supporting them and trying to lift them up as much as I can, even if my voice is small, it is still there. Um, because they're doing the thing I never did and still don't have the confidence to do. And yeah, it's I think you'll find a lot of people that play indie games and reviewers and journalists that cover indie games when we're not drawn to indie games because we think it's gonna make us millionaires. We're drawn to them because we respect and love the effort that's put into them. And
Definitely.
you'll generally find that, as long as you're making genuine human connections with people, that they will want to talk to you and they are interested in what you're doing. And you will find the community is actually pretty welcoming and a really lovely place to be. So it can be tempting to lock yourself away in a room and spend 2 years coding the game and never speak to anyone until it's done, but you are putting yourself at a massive disadvantage on multiple levels, not just marketing, but also just sort of keeping yourself away from a resource that can really help. And yeah, it's one of the reasons why I love the community so much.
Well, that is, I'm gonna stop rinsing you for information because there's so much
Is
in
that
there
helpful?
that it's just been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I do want to,
hmm
before we sort of end, I do want to cover yourself a little bit, as in what are you? Where do you want to take your channel? What is your goals for the next sort of direction of your channel? Are you just, do you have any sort of big plans? Or are you just trying to build the community as you're going? What's your goal?
I kind of think of myself as a presenter before a streamer. I think of Twitch as one of the places I can be a presenter, if that makes sense. So,
Okay, yep.
I do things sometimes a little bit differently on my channel, I think, than other streamers do. I have a slightly different format in some ways, not in others, but in some ways, and that will continue and that will evolve. I think things like the, Totally Real Beach streams on Wednesday afternoons are a little bit different, and those got leveled up recently. I did many hours of Photoshop work to improve those. So,
Oh,
that is just, trying to be a bit more creative, trying to break the mold a little bit as, we are on the Totally Real Beach, which is my private island that definitely exists and is definitely in the UK. And yeah, it's utterly not
I've
a
seen it.
YouTube video on loop. And, I've now made that on a pinboard as a postcard, so it says "Wish you were here," and I'm a animated postcard, and there's other things on the pinboard, and trying to just sort of like, make things more creative and to be a bit braver
Yeah.
and to do my ideas and not let myself kind of just sort of do what is the obvious, what is the norm. So yeah, we go to the Totally Real Beach on Wednesdays, and we talk about retro and indie games and comic books and things like that. And I'm trying to just keep being creative, keep trying to push myself and, um, yeah, see exactly how far I can get, where I can improve the quality of what I can doing, where I can be more entertaining. So I do 50-50 just chatting and playing games, um, and kind of keep it mixed.
It does feel, because instantly, I mean, you've only got to watch your stream for 5 minutes, and it instantly feels like. Did you ever watch Bad Influence,
Yes.
uh, the
Yes.
TV show? I don't know why, but it feels like Bad Influence. It feels like I've tuned into a show, and like I said, you're putting people's names in sticker books. You're chatting about all sorts of stuff, and it just feels like a show that you're watching. I forget that I'm watching, a Twitch stream. That's how good it is. It really,
Thank
really is
you. That's
different.
kind of what I'm going for, and obviously, at the moment, I've been incredibly fortunate this year that, I did the brave thing the other year, and I went up and spoke to one of my
Oh,
heroes and handed them my business card, which is something I
oh,
never
really?
would have done the year before. And, I gave
Who?
my business card to Jason Bradbury, who, of course, people know from The Gadget Show, who's one of my presenter heroes. And
Absolutely, he's amazing.
and yeah, when lockdown started, he decided that he wanted to start doing more content online, and he phoned me,
Wow.
and
I've actually watched some. I've watched some of his
I
streams as well.
suggested Twitch because he hadn't watched Twitch before.
Oh God,
So that's kind of crazy. Um,
that is because, yeah, who doesn't love Jason
he's
Bradbury?
absolutely lovely, and I'm now his co-host on a weekly show on Twitch, and we're talking about maybe in the future taking it to the stage or something. There's possibilities there. And,
You can see it definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal because that's now me working with, one of my presenter heroes, and if my
Well,
shows
yeah,
also
he's
look a
a
bit like Bad Influence, that's just double winning for me there. Um
That's my favourite show growing up. It was absolute. I used to record it and everything. I had all of them recorded, off the TV like you used to do. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a great
And
show.
and again,
It's a great show, and
yeah,
I love the vibe of shows like that. So if I am actually achieving that kind of thing, then that's brilliant for me. And, if someone says, if someone were to say to me, You're a bit like a second-rate Violet Billing," I would like, "Thank you."
Violet Billing. Wow, yeah, I haven't heard
That's
that name
that
for a
that's
while.
that's where I'm aiming to be, I will probably never
I
reach
can.
her level, but if I could just be like, if someone could compare me and go like, "You're a bit like a slightly less good version of," I'd be like, "That's excellent." Um, So that's what I'm trying to do with these things. And obviously the YouTube channel, I do a mix of things there, including the the indie game interviews, and it's a lot more interviews and reports and things on the YouTube channel where I'm covering specific topics, and it's also where I put all of the videos of me doing my on-stage presenting work, because I host panels at some of the events, which again are normally focused around either interviewing very amazing, sort of content creators, YouTubers in the sort of retro scenes and things, or I've interviewed indie games developers on stage, into comic book developers on stage, at things like that, which is wonderful. And I love doing that roaming reporting styles things as well, where I've been utilized by other channels to be the person with a microphone that walks around Comic-Con and things like that. And I love all of these things, and I think all of them feed into the other things I'm doing, and I would just like to get better at it. Maybe one day, maybe actually end up on some regular broadcast TV. And I know everyone says like, oh no one cares about TV anymore. It's like, no, but I grew up watching TV. I want to just be on the TV one day.
I'd tune in. I'm straight there. If you, we need a new bad influence, because there's nothing.
If anyone were to make a new bad influence, or a new games master, if you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the games Trista.
The games, no, I haven't.
That's another delight of Photoshop that I created on the stream. You can ask the wise games Trista some questions. It's definitely not heavily photoshopped or influenced by any TV shows that I watched as a kid. And
the sky is so low.
It's flawless special effects. I actually spent quite a lot of time on it. It's got animations and an intro and everything. And yeah, I if someone were to make shows like that, I would love to be on them. Or panel game shows where the points don't really matter, that kind of thing. I would love to be on those as well. And to do more comedy stuff would be amazing and phenomenal. And yeah, I don't know if it will ever happen or not, but if anyone ever did make another mainstream TV show about gaming, then it would be amazing to be on that. Yeah, and if it was about retro and indie, even better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, again,
because I don't know anything about Fortnite.
No, nor do I.
There's a banana in it. Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
I know that because Jason told me.
Oh, I actually played Fortnite before it turned into a battle royale. I played it when it came out, and it was just like a tower defense game.
Okay.
And it was just a zombie survival, wave 1, wave 2, and you just kill them.
That sounds more fun.
And well, it was fun for a while, and I was like, yeah, I've done 3 hours. Don't think I'll play this again. And then a couple of months later, they turned it into a battle royale, and I was like, I'm already bored, so I'm not going to go and play that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll stick with Quake 3 Arena. None of this stealthing around. No.
I want a laser gun that explodes bodies. That's what I want.
Yeah, endless respawning and just jumping all over the shop and exploding everything. It's one of the reasons I'm not doing very well at Dead Space, is because I keep trying to run away and jump backwards while shooting, and you cannot.
Oh, it's too scary. I can't play that game.
I recommend hiding from it. It's very, very scary.
Yeah, I don't fancy that.
Yeah, no.
You're also friends with my namesake, Mr. James Marsh.
Oh yes.
Because he's doing some cool stuff as well. He does lots of cool. So he is the gaming muso.
He is indeed, and his name makes way more sense than when he started his YouTube channel now. Because originally he wasn't making music very much on his YouTube channel.
Oh, I didn't know him back then. I've just seen him because I've seen obviously you, Jason, and James. You do a lot of conversations and talking a lot on social media, don't you? You're always appearing in each other's streams and accounts. So I've been following him as well, and he does some cool stuff as well. Again, gaming music stuff. So if you're interested in that stuff, go follow gaming music.
Yes, if definitely. You'd like to hear all your classic gaming tracks of your youth on a nice rock guitar, exceedingly well played, then that is definitely the place to go. And it's another thing where it's an awesome bit of creativity. That's a good USP. I'm surprised nobody's picked him up to do any game music. That seems to be the next natural step. If I'm going into voice acting and things like that, then surely somebody should be putting the gaming muso's music into their indie games. Yes, collaborations definitely. For the win.
Come on.
teaming up and
So
collaborating is just it's just a good way of getting things out there as well.
definitely is, and there's so many opportunities, and there's so much stuff that people haven't done yet that it's definitely worth exploring, isn't it? So let's get on it, people. Let's do some connecting. So you are looking for voice acting work as well, just because it's cool, isn't it, for games?
Again, it's a dream, and I've done a couple of little bits of it now, and I've got this lovely new mic set up, and
Nice.
yeah, I would love to do more voice acting, and yeah, push me out my comfort zone a little bit, and do because I do very different silly voices and things all the time off stream, and I'm starting to get to the confidence to do kind of other characters and voices and things on camera. Yeah, I would love to put that into games, especially indie games, and be part of those projects. If anyone would like a voice actor for their work,
Okay,
then
there we go.
I exist.
There's
I'm cheap, you know.
yeah. Now, if you want to compare Trista and someone who can't voice act, I did a stream where the characters didn't have voice acting yet because it was still an early build. So I added my own to all the
Excellent.
characters. We had a Scotsman, we had some Irish guys, some unknown languages, accents that I don't quite know where they were from, but they were around. They get around a lot. But that was great fun, just putting stupid voices on characters. Amazing. Um, so watch that video, anyone. It's on YouTube. And then go and hire Trista to actually do voice acting. Because you go, oh my God, that's what it's supposed to sound like. Right. Okay. Okay, cool. So is there anything else you'd like anyone to know? Where's the best place to contact you, or what you want people to check out? Anything at all?
Absolutely. Well, if people would like to find out a little bit more about me, I am called Trista Bytes, spelt Bytes, because I thought I was making a pun and was funny, then realized I had to then explain that on every single podcast I'm ever on. And I've got the same username on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere really. So I'm quite easy to find. Branding consistency. That's the one I didn't mention. If
Oh,
you use the same name on all your social medias. Ideally, make it your company name if you're a dev, and you have it the same on absolutely everything. That makes things much easier for us as well. And yes, I've got that branding bit down for myself, even if I foolishly chose a pun that I then have to explain every time. So yeah, I've got approaching 5 years worth of content up on YouTube, and I stream full time on Twitch. I do 7 streams a week. I also pop up on various podcasts, including this lovely one as well. And yeah, just moving forward, full time presenting, general nonsense speaking, Muppet faced indie game player. There we go. Is that a pitch?
brilliant.
Is that good?
That is a good pitch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that was going to bring you all the voice acting.
Excellent.
And we need a bad influence name, not good influence, dodgy influence. There we go.
Mildly suspect influence. Slightly disconcerting influence. Mostly harmless influence. I don't know.
No, stop giving away the domain names.
God damn it. Quick, register the domain names. I'll go with the other
Big up.
50 ones I've registered, including for the comics I never actually produced.
You're obsessed with doing that as well, are you? I've got so many domain names.
I was a web developer for 15 years. I bought a domain name for every idea I ever had, and then I won't sell
Yeah.
them just in case I ever
Oh,
do the
no.
idea. That's how that works.
I know, it's ridiculous.
You know, and then at the end of the year, you get billed for like 70 quid or something, and you're like, God damn it, was that
I know.
.co.uk really worth it?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what's charged me $17.99? What?
Those 50
And
.net
then,
addresses, why did I
yeah.
do that?
I know. Well, it was easy when there used to be like 5. Well, I'll just register them all just to be sure.
Just
Now
in
there's
case.
thousands.
Yes. Well, I
So
registered
you
them
do.
all and all variants for the graphic design firm website for my own when I was doing that freelance full time. And everyone kept telling me I was massively paranoid and things. And then somebody did actually try and imitate me.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, there was a small fake site that pointed at my site, and a fake LinkedIn profile that claimed to be my CEO.
Wow.
And that got pointed out to me, and I thought, why on earth would anyone want to pretend to be me? But fair enough, mate.
I mean that's an A for effort, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
a B for creativity.
Yeah, that's true. Right, okay, well, that is the end of our conversation.
Yeah, some of it was on topic.
Well, mostly. But thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for inviting me on, and I hope that the general advice I have given is useful to people. And I guess if anyone would like me to talk some more about any of these topics and things, or anyone that's looking to get into streaming and or looking for ways to promote their indie game and stuff, like if anyone would like me to come back on again and talk about anything else, then just give the man in charge here a shout, because I would be happy to come on the podcast again.
Oh, forget them. I'm going to call you back. I need all that help. Yeah, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Holy hell. What did I tell you? What an amazing interview. So thank you so much to Trista. That was so good. Don't forget, if you missed any of the links that were mentioned, you can find them all in the show notes, as always. So check those out. Make sure you head over to Trista on Twitch. She streams like every day, so you can't fail to miss her. So head to Twitch, follow her on there, and everywhere that she is online. And as Trista so kindly offered, if there's anything you would like her to cover, to come back on the podcast and talk about, then please send emails into the show, and I'll speak with Trista and see if we can arrange a time to come back on and discuss any of the questions that you have. So please let me know. I look forward to it. And thank you so much to Trista for offering to come back on and help everybody. That is super kind of you. If you enjoyed this new direction ever so slightly, so if you enjoyed listening to something little bit different, then please let me know some feedback. I'd love to hear what everyone's enjoying listening to. It's probably going to be a lot more variety coming up as I talk to different streamers, marketers, authors, lots and lots of stuff coming up for everybody listening. So if you are enjoying the show, then please can I ask if you could leave a review for the show wherever you're listening, whether it's Apple or Stitcher or even YouTube, anywhere that you can leave a review. If you could leave me some feedback, that'd be wonderful, because you know how all this works. Feedback and reviews really help boost the podcast and all the algorithm stuff. So that would be much appreciated. Thank you so much in advance. There's not much more for me to say, really. The next episode will actually be dropping pretty soon after this one. So keep an eye out in your podcast feeds, wherever you're listening to this, or online. I don't know where you're listening, but keep an eye out, because it will be dropping pretty soon. If you want the most up-to-date information, then Twitter is the place to follow me. So Indiegameiacs on Twitter, that is the most up-to-date stuff. You'll get tweets every day. So if you want to find out when stuff is happening, then head over to there. The live streams will be restarting again soon. I actually still can't find my camera. So I don't know where that's gone. It must be in this room somewhere. So once I've found the camera, I will start live streaming some of these indie games again, which is going to be awesome because I can't wait. So there you go. That is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Trista. And I'll see you in episode number, whatever the next one is, 19. Lost track already. Episode 19, which will be very soon. So thank you, everybody. Goodbye.